So, just got back from seeing Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And, you know, give me 1 second. I know you're probably going to think, ugh, you're probably going to think I'm drinking because I hated it. Not the case. I went into this kind of thinking I was going to hate it. But, surprisingly enough, I really liked the film. It was a visual spectacle. I mean, and that's not the only reason I liked it. Seriously, this game, see, that's the problem right there. This movie felt just like a game. You're watching kind of like this build-up into just all-out boss fights, which was badass. Seriously, like I have to say, and I gotta stop using the word seriously. Honestly enough, I didn't expect to like this movie. Every time I saw like a trailer of it, I was like, ugh, that looks so stupid. The visuals looked right in the trailer, but I couldn't get past Michael Cera. And I know that's unfair. I admit that. It was really unfair of me to judge a movie so quickly off of the lead actor. And I understand that. And I've really never liked Michael Cera. He's always kind of been, or he's always at least acted like that guy that can't look at someone when they talk to him. Michael Cera has always kind of had that, well, you know, maybe later we should like hang out, you know, maybe that would be really good. Like, I'm free and I'm not occupied for like a later time. If you'd like to, you know, get together or something, it would be nice. You know, that's kind of how the guy acts, and I really can't discredit a guy for acting the way you've seen him act since like Arrested Development. I don't remember anything before that, but seriously, that's how the guy acts, and to me it gets a little frustrating. It's kind of like, dude, learn how to interact. But honestly enough, this film, this movie, I should say, it was awesome. Like, seriously, it was like watching boss battle after boss battle. It was great. The visuals alone make it worth just viewing. It was worth the price of admission just for that. And I have to pay $9.50 for a movie here. I don't know what you guys pay. I pay $9.50, worth every penny. Seriously. Now, my minor complaints with the film was it kind of had a long wind up into more or less the main focal point of the film, which was this guy's got to beat up these 7 exes to get with Ramona, a girl that constantly changes her hair from pink to blue to green. That's kind of weird as is, but kind of hot, I do admit. I can understand, like, being used to seeing someone with pink hair and be like, now it's blue? What, you know, so it's kind of like awkward acting at that point. Really made it worth it. You get a lot of background character development with Scott Pilgrim. You kind of see this guy that, you know, doesn't realize that he has, in fact, broken a lot of hearts and left a lot of sour tastes in people's mouths. Sure, he had his heart broken, and I think any of us can attest to having our hearts broken. Sucks. We get that. And that's what made it a really likable character, is you kind of saw him like instantly fall for this girl and immediately wanted to be smitten with her. And he tried that stupid ass Pac-Man joke, and it was like, he bombed out the first time, but he still stalked her, which is really creepy. Never worked for me. But visually appealing is probably, and not just visually appealing, visually spectacular is probably the two biggest, or the biggest praise I can give this movie. It was. I mean, they had him like Chris Evans picked his ass up and threw him into a castle, and you see him fall and tumble down. That was kick-ass. I'm just trying to recap some of the major things that I remember. It was a funny movie. Like, I remember laughing out loud, especially during that. And I'm trying to not. I'm not going to go into spoilers or anything like that. But there's a scene where Scott Pilgrim, Michael Cera, is confessing his love to, and amazingly enough, I didn't even recognize her in the trailers. I hardly recognized her in the movie, but Mary Winstead plays Ramona in this. And I was like, she's in this movie? Who's she play? I'm like, that's her? I mean, I think the last thing I saw her in was Live Free or Die Hard. She looks nothing like she did in that film. I don't know if it's just a complete overhaul with her looks or something, or just maybe that the short hair and kind of like, you know, punkish outfits kind of work for her. Really did, actually. I know that sounds kind of like a womanizing statement, but she looked really good. She looked really good in this film, and it really kind of shows that she's good. She's good in the department to where she can change her looks to where she doesn't really. You can't pick it up as to who that is. Of course, Michael Cera looks like Michael Cera. That guy's never going to change that look. He's always going to have that look. But, sorry, it's got to be, you know, if I'm drinking something, it's got to be booze or beer or whatever. But yeah, I think I remember a couple of the battles that I was like, especially like the twins battle, I didn't like. It was just such, it was like they threw it together real fast. It's kind of like that pre-final boss in like, think like Devil May Cry or something like that. Like the big sludge monster before you go and fight Mundus. Like that's what it felt like. It's like, oh, this guy really wasn't necessary. You just had to fight him. And then you're like, oh, I can advance the story. You know. But the Jason Schwartzman battle, which is a two-parter, and that doesn't give anything away, believe me. I think from the trailers, I mean, it really does look like they have an epic fight, and they do. It started to remind me of like, you might as well have had Travis Touchdown as the last boss. Another thing that I think they dropped the ball on pretty bad with, at least in my opinion, because I was like, go for it, do it, was the battle between Brandon Routh, who plays a really cool character in this. I could have swore they were trying to make him Dr. Manhattan. I'm like, he's levitating and I have these powers, you know, because I'm vegan. You don't know the first thing about being a vegan. Oh, you know, and it really was really cool. I loved that. But they get into like this base battle, and you know, I was thinking the whole time, like, you know, stop trying to outplay this guy. He's better than you. Just pull a Haruko, you know, from Fooly Cooly and beat him in the head with your Rickenbacker, dude. And I think the Chris Evans fight was pretty lousy. He really didn't fight Chris Evans all that much. Like, Chris Evans got his shots in. He's like, oh yeah, I'm a badass, trying to get all cool for the ladies, you know. But other than that, this movie had a really good plot. It was your typical love story in a small sense, but it was like, what would you do for the one you felt you belonged with? Would you fight 7 dudes? Or 7 exes, I should say, because the lesbian fight was that was awesome. I have to say that just the implication behind that was, I laughed my ass off about it. You know, the whole, and I'm pretty sure you've seen that in the previews with you know, well, I'm sorry, I was just a little bi-curious. Well, I'm a little bi-furious. Rah! You know. But speaking about that scene, before I forget, this movie now rounds out my trilogy of strange things that like make people either orgasm or because of an orgasm, something like that. Like, you had like The Matrix Reloaded, where basically it taught us that if you kiss a French woman with pure love for another, she'll orgasm. I don't know. Any of you French out there? Tell me if I'm wrong. There's Terminator 3, where, you know, the TX will like be able to taste blood and you know, and Cyborg's orgasm, I guess. And in this movie, it rounds it out. It's like, well, if you make a woman orgasm, you kill her. That kind of explains why all my exes are still alive. So